is my pleasure to introduce you to our next speakers from Artistic Carton Company. This company is a manufacturer of folding cartons who provide solutions for food, beverage, healthcare, and beauty brands, as well as other categories. Please welcome, with a warm round of applause, Pete Traeger, joined by Michael von Brendel. Artistic Hutch.
Thanks.
Yep. There you go. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Good job. Michael running the Starship Enterprise here, so just bear with us on the technical side.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, we're good?
Great.
Okay. In our infinite wisdom, we decided, why not use a brand new presentation technology? So we're going to test it out on you today, see how it works.
There it goes. All
there
right.
we go. It's up. It's running.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today we're going to discuss retail-minded packaging. And specifically, we're going to be discussing folding cartons and what you can do as marketing and brand managers to really make your product stand out and win on the shelf. My name is Pete Traeger. I'm CEO of Artistic Carton Company. And joining me is Michael von Brendel, who is our Senior National Accounts Manager. I'm the CEO and owner of Artistic Carton Company. We're headquartered just 30 miles west of here in Elgin, Illinois. Our company was started in 1935 by my grandfather, and I grew up in the business. I worked high school and college, started in 1980. Michael von Brendel is Senior National Accounts Manager. Michael's got 30 years of experience, both in operational, marketing, and sales in the packaging industry, and has many packaging innovations associated with his name. And during his time in the industry, Michael has worked on a number of major product launches, brand refreshments, initiatives, marketing studies to really make packages stand out. Artistic Carton is an integrated company. There's only 5 integrated companies in North America. We're the smallest and the only family-owned one. We've grown quite a bit over the years. We have 2 converting facilities, one here in Elgin and then one by Fort Wayne, Indiana, and our mill is in Michigan. So we make a lot of different cartons for a lot of different industries. We serve a lot of the large CPG companies. We do retail gift boxes like Victoria's Secret, Coach, those type of things. We work with companies in the health and beauty area. And we really see a lot of different avenues where companies have had success in making their products stand out on the shelf by working across a wide variety of product lines. So today, Michael and I are going to talk about the value of packaging enhancements and how they can help you win at retail. So we asked the question, is it more important today to have a package that helps you in your success? We think definitely yes. We are seeing that an overabundance of information is inundating the consumer. They have too many choices. This might be perceived as a benefit for national brands that have the marketing dollars to advertise using a number of different channels. But the reality is for today's consumer that although brand recognition still plays a role in decision making, it greatly diminishes the impact for several different factors. Mike?
All right, let's start. Perfect. The conundrum. So where I live in Minneapolis, we have retail outlets, Target. Target is headquartered there. And we have what's called super targets. And so in a super target, on the grocery store side, there's about 40,000 SKUs to choose from. When you combine it with the retail side of the target, there's about 80,000 SKUs to choose from. What happens with that many decisions to do is people come to the store and now it's a matter of deselection and not selection. So your brand, which has about 3 to 7 seconds on the shelf to make an impact, is either looked at or it's ignored. So what we're hoping to tell you today is how can we help you at that moment of truth, which is what Procter & Gamble calls it, when the consumer's standing within 3 feet of your product, to look at yours, to pick it up, and to put it in the basket. So interesting enough, you would think with all the internet information available that a lot of people would do research on their products before they go to the store and they actually buy. Fact of the matter is I just read a study by Psychology Today that states most consumer behavior lies within the unconscious mind, which tells us that still a lot of people buy on impulse and make decisions right at the store shelf as opposed to doing research on everything that they put in their basket. So Pete, you get to go to the brand manager's
Right.
scramble.
So I'm sure you've all heard these statistics, but just to reinforce them again, last year there were over 30,000 new retail packaged products launched in the United States. And between 5 and 30% of those new items will make their first birthday. So it's a very small percentage because between 70 and 95% of these products will fail. Even more specifically, in the grocery store, 70 to 80% of new products will fail the first year. So if you take all the data and wrap it up, it's probably about an average of 80% fail. Of course, there's different categories that have a higher level of failure. Healthcare products have a failure rate of 35%, which kind of leads the pack. So let's quickly look at what's driving this trend in retail failure. There's a common group of reasons why products fail in several different highly credible research studies. Their top 3 reasons are these. Consumers do not understand or perceive the benefit in the new product. Prolonged product development or delays cause a delay into the market entry, and then poor execution. The Harvard Business Review goes on to state that the lack of company preparation is the single largest factor in product failures. And everybody, I'm sure when you launch a new product, there's a lot of energy and time devoted to the design and manufacture of the new products, but companies postpone the hard work and the efforts that needs to go into marketing that new product. And package design is an integral part of the whole process. To the consumer, the package is the product.
So the number of purchasing decisions that are made at the shelf are staggering. So the studies that we reviewed showed there's a huge disparity between which products are actually decided at the shelf and which ones are already pre-planned. But the point of that particular comment is there's still a lot of decision-making going right on in front of the product. So it turns out that Procter & Gamble might have had this particular one wrong. And this, I'm going to show my age a little bit, but if you remember their Don't Touch the Charmin campaign, so it turns out that actually touching the product has a huge impact on whether or not you're going to put it in your basket or not. So they spent 21 years on television, I think it was Mr. Whipple, telling you not to squeeze the Charmin. What they should have been doing is telling you, squeeze the Charmin, because if you pick it up and you touch it, there's an 80% likelihood that that product's going to go in your basket. If you don't pick it up and you don't touch it, there's a 100% likelihood that you're not going to buy it. So Pete,
So the impulse at the shelf is a powerful and profitable opportunity for CPG companies. 64% of all shoppers questioned in a Forbes Business Magazine poll indicated that they make a portion of their purchase decisions at impulse. A staggering 30% of those same people stated that they buy products due to the packaging alone. So that's a lot of the 30% is a large percentage. So let's narrow our discussion down to a segment of consumers often discussed, and that's millennials. So first, let's define millennials. Millennials are people that were born between 1982 and 1996, so they're currently between 21 and 35 years old. There's 80 million millennials in the United States. They spend over $600 billion annually, and that's 28% of all daily per-person consumer spending. They're forecasted to grow to 35% of the spending by 2030. So no matter how you define it, millennial spending is very important. So a majority of millennials follow brands on at least one major social media platform. And the reason? It's for discounts. We also know that millennials want different attributes in their products that their parents did. And we definitely know that they do not buy their parents' brands. With this lack of brand recognition and loyalty, there lies an opportunity for the package to make a difference on the shelf.
there's an opportunity that exists because the consumer has a positive perception of your product due to its packaging. Contract Packaging Association states that 52% of the shoppers that they interviewed are willing to pay more for a product based on the packaging itself. And this is an odd statistic, but Paperworker states that if a product is so cool in its package that once they take the product out, some consumers actually re-gift products in the existing packaging, not the product that was in it, but something else. At the end of our presentation today, we're going to show you a perfect example of a promotional carton that was manufactured that turned out to be quite a hit on the internet and actually found its way to being resold on eBay for an exceedingly high cost. But we'll touch that as we get to the end. So Pete.
So let's do a comparison here, side-by-side comparison case study. There's a strong correlation between how quickly a brand is seen or considered and the likelihood of its purchase. In eye tracking studies, I know there was a talk earlier about eye tracking studies by Clemson University. Study participants focused on packaging with foil stamping faster and remained focused longer than packages that did not have the foil stamping. So that shiny surface caught their eye. These studies prove that packages with high visibility enhancements held shoppers' attention longer than 50% of name brand control products. And more than 46% of the study participants said they perceived packages with specialty printing or enhancements to be of higher quality. So there's brand equity benefits here as well. While we know and acknowledge that factors such as cost and brand loyalty and shelf location have significant influence on purchasing decisions, the ability to attract and keep shoppers' attention is crucial for brands looking to maintain or grow their brand market share.
This is the actual item from the study that they did. The one on the left was a printed normal ink set, and then the little badge was just an additional color that they added. The other part of the study they did with the one at the bottom right, a set of high color UV inks, and then that little badge is actually a foil stamp and it's embossed. So this is the comparable that they used in the study at Clemson University. What we found in the study was that your packaging has an awful lot of opportunity, and any enhancements that they use can really deliver things to your package. So an enhancement can offer surprise and delight. So it catches the consumer's attention at the shelf and gets them to do that initial pickup, which is really what we're looking for. Your enhancement can also tell a story. So you can use an enhancement. You've done a whole lot of work on R&D. You've already done all this development on a product. You got to put it in an enhancement on the package as well so the consumer can understand the perceived value of that. Enhancements can also help you build your brand. You know, with consistent use of branded graphic elements and enhancements, it's key to developing brand awareness and recognition. Enhancements can create incremental lift for you, which we have found in a couple of the projects that we have done. We know that unique packaging with enhancements that deliver consumer excitement actually will secure shelf space for you. One of the projects that we did for a consumer where they ran a portion of it in a promotional fashion using cast and cure was delivered only to one customer and put in all of their stores, and it drove a whole lot of activity to that retail outlet. We know that enhancements can demonstrate sustainability as well, depending on the board that you choose. And a folding carton can actually host your digital tools as well. So you can use 2D barcodes, and you can also add augmented reality to your carton. And lastly, the right kind of enhancements can showcase the physical aspect of your product as well. Die-cut windows, openings, holes in packages where the consumer can actually see in and see the quality of the product before they actually buy it. And lastly, what do enhancements do? They drive sustained sales. Back to you, Pete.
So there are many processes or options that can be applied to packaging to catch the eye of the consumer and hold their attention. Some of these processes have been in existence for a long time and have been a part of branding strategy for many companies in a wide variety of products. So we've broken it down into this presentation into a couple different areas. One of the options is materials. There's coated boards, uncoated boards, foil laminated, metallized boards, holographic boards. These are all things that we use on a daily basis in our business for all across our customers. The best package starts with the right paperboard. Think of the paperboard as the canvas for your package. With printing technologies continue to evolve, your board options continue to expand. Coated and uncoated recycled paperboard offers cost-effective options and can be used in conjunction with your brand's sustainability message. Uncoated board also offers the ability to give a natural, unprocessed look. And by using some of the ink sets that we have, like EB curable ink sets, you can get the color and vibrancy you need on that uncoated board stock. And recycled board technology continues to evolve and deliver board that can be used for non-traditional applications. There's boards out there, in fact, we make a board that can be used in the freeze-thaw cycle. It's a recycled board, so again, it helps on the sustainability. We use other boards too, which are traditional SBS, which is the bleach-coated board. That's seen often in the confection, the health and beauty aisle, and coated unnatural craft CUK, which is used in the beverage market. Foil metallized and foil laminated and holographic boards can be stunning options that really differentiate you on the shelf. These type of boards typically need unique inks and curing options like EB or UV, and tend to be some of the most expensive boards out there. There can also be concerns regarding the recyclability of paperboard that is both foil laminated or foil stamped.
And then these are just some examples of laminated foils, uncoated boards, and just regular CRB as well. So the second group of enhancements is in the printing side. This is probably the one that offers the most variability and opportunity for consumers. So right now there's a trend in consumer packaged goods to use VOC-free ink sets, so no volatile organic compounds. We're also seeing that trend start to move towards UV curable and EB curable or electron beam curable ink sets. For us, we find that UV is a very well accepted ink set and used for the health and beauty industry. And we also see it in the beverage industry as well. But food is not really looked on as a favorable environment to use UV inks or UV coatings. Interestingly enough, if you go to Europe, you find the food packaging in Europe to be almost entirely all UV coated. And here in the United States, we find UV inks not to be really the option for it, but now you're starting to see an EB curable ink set that's starting to do really good in the food industry. So for years, foil stamping has been associated primarily with promotional or seasonal packaging and perhaps the initial rollout of a brand new product. Although foil is widely assumed to increase shelf pop, which we explained a little bit before, the incremental costs have prevented many companies from using it either long-term or even at all. So what we have found, though, is that in some areas where the price points were a little bit higher, like the health and beauty, you still see foil used an awful lot. On the food aisle, not so much. But we have got some new options on the food side. If you haven't seen the samples at our booth, we did an EB curable cast and cure for General Mills. The folks at Bright Technology who spoke today were our partners in that. And that has become a great option for people that want to get that foil look and get that pop, but also want the recyclability aspect of a non-foil on a board. So we have found that we're starting to get into the food industry now with some of these enhancements where they're trying to really differentiate and trying to figure out how can I get people to look at my carton a little bit longer. And so we're starting to see more things like tactile finishes. We're seeing soft touch. We're seeing in many instances a combination of both. And it's allowing consumers to look at the package, want to pick up the package, and pick it up. Lastly, we do a little bit of backside printing as well. So these are some samples of what we've manufactured that show the enhancements that we just talked about. The oil of Olay has that whip, which is an embossed on a foil board. The nest up at top is a tactile finish when you pick it up and touch it, and the combination of that and foil has been really well received. The black and blue over here on the left, you can probably see it in the picture. That's got a tactile finish on it that you can really touch and feel. And lastly, one of the most cost-effective enhancements that I don't think people take enough advantage of is printing on the inside of the carton. Funny, somebody gave us their business card today that had printing on the backside. Half the business card you get, the backside is blank. It's the same thing for a folding carton. You have a wonderful opportunity on the inside to either coupon, to drive to your digital home or your website, or to perhaps have a contest on the inside. But very few people take advantage of the inside of the box as an enhancement.
So there are endless amounts of options when it comes to die cutting and structural design. You're only limited by your imagination and the ability to pack the carton or for us to manufacture it. By embossing or debossing the carton, we can add more, again, textural appeal, visual appeal to the carton, make it really pop out to the consumer. As we said, we can do a lot of different finishes. Touch is very important on the carton. With die cut, we can do die cut openings, let the consumer see your product in there. That's very important for them. Windowing, think of a pasta box. Most pasta boxes have windows in them so that the consumer can see it. We can do unique shape boxes. We can, and then also we can add things in the finishing line. We can add redeemable coupons right there. They have a very high sell-through. They found out that it's like 35% of consumers will take that right and get the money back right away. So you can see some of the interesting designs that we do, from the coffee drink carrier to there's a windowed, bar box. Just all of these different, the pillow pack, which is the coach, which is a very efficient and unique design. Even the gable top box on the right.
We had a conversation with someone today about enhancements. They were looking at the cartons, and they were talking about return on investment. It's always it's a tricky conversation. You take a carton that maybe costs 8 cents, and you add foil stamping and you add embossing, and now that carton costs 9.5 cents. And this particular conversation was all about how do I justify that extra cent and a half? And I think that you have to look at it just a little bit differently than how do I get that cent and a half back, and look at it a little bit more holistically. So I think enhancements can strengthen the brand. I think we've already seen that, and we've seen pictures of that. We know that enhancements can create awareness. So we know that either by seeing the product, people become more aware, or if it's a unique enhancement, people, they start to seek out that particular carton. And I think lastly, I think it builds preference. It's absolutely necessary to be able to have strengthening the brand, creating awareness, and building a preference for your product on the shelf. Lastly, it's winning on the shelf. It's having somebody pick your product over the competitors.
So how do you get the best return on investment out of the package enhancements? And the most successful projects have a few common things. First, brand owners who are committed to upfront learning, and that's learning about the brand's equity, the target customer, and the competition, industry trends. They have the most success. Second, the use of structural innovation. Customers and retailers love to see something new, but the best solutions are those that have a clear reason for being as well. Ergonomics, easy opening and resealing, the ability to see inside the carton. These are all great attributes. Sometimes just being cool is enough, but you'll have better success with structural enhancements, solve a potential problem. Next, don't forget to honor existing brand equity, unless your strategy calls for something completely new and different. Loyal shoppers don't want to have to hunt for your product. If they can't find you, they can't pick it up. Also, congruent messaging means that enhancement is reinforced with messaging on the package. Tell consumers why, or at least what, with brand right copy.
So there's some common pitfalls that we saw, and these were done in studies. Interesting enough, unnecessary redesigns was the one on the top of the list. It seems that brand managers, especially new brand managers, come in and they feel it necessary to make a change on a package. And it turns out that it looks like brand managers get tired of their packaging before the consumers do. And they make changes when they don't have to make changes. I think ignoring the core equities of the brand, that's color, that's logos, that's information that makes people recognize you on the shelf. And I think lastly, if you're going to do the redesign, if you're going to use the packaging enhancement, you have to move the needle. And by moving the needle means you make the consumer aware that there's something new, there's something different about the package. This was a conversation from earlier in the presentation. We produced this carton for General Mills, and we produced it in a limited amount, and it was distributed to just one particular retailer for General Mills. Turns out that you can buy this box of cereal on the shelf for $3.99, or if you're really excited about it, you can go onto eBay and buy that very same box for $29.99. So it turned out that because of the uniqueness of the carton and because of its limited accessibility and because it got some really good prep on a couple of foodie
Food blogs.
it got just really exciting, and all of a sudden now you're finding it for sale at 7 or 8 times its original value. And what I wanted to show you in this particular image right here was this is what the product looks like when it sits on the shelf and you walk by. You actually see it kind of glows and it reaches out to you, so it catches your eye while you're walking. It just sits there. It doesn't do anything, but when you walk by, you see it right out of the corner of your eye. And it was a very successful program for us. And I think lastly, I'm going to deviate here for a second off of my presentation and pull up a quick image right here. And we actually have a testimonial from a customer that used an enhancement for the first time, and they're going to share with you what the whole process was like. Well, if we can get her to speak.
So for our new launches this year, we were tasked with the project to work with Nickelodeon on their new equity Shimmer and Shine. As you can see here on this carton, we wanted to work with them to really enhance this equity and make it stand out on the shelf. And so we had a couple different options for carton enhancements that we were vetting out, and casting care really stood out to us. With food safety in mind, we were somewhat limited with the options that we could do for enhancing our cartons, and we really wanted to do something outside of foil stamping or embossing, just something that would stand out on shelf and really excite consumers. And we were able to identify the cast and cure technology that would provide excitement for our consumers, but also work in a food-safe way. We were able to do a couple of things at once. Artistic Carton was able to quickly provide mock-ups of the carton enhancement and cast and cure to show our marketing team. At the same time, we were able to qualify their cartons and the packaging enhancement to make sure that we were able to run these at the plants efficiently. And with Artistic Carton's help, we were able to not only come up with a package that would really excite the consumer, but also do it on an extremely tight timeline. So our original plan was only to run this enhancement until we removed the new flag, which is usually about 6 months into the project, into the launch. And then we decided that the consumers and the customers really were excited by this carton that we wanted to keep it at least for the full year. That was another push. Like, our sales team has been extremely excited, and I think the entire sales force has been excited about this carton enhancement. Is that today's baby? Pretty much, for like 6 months it was. Yep, lots of hard blood, sweat, and tears right here.
So that was just an example of one of our customers that decided to try an enhancement, and it was a very successful story for them. In the back, we printed out some of the statistics that we gathered from our research for this presentation. If you would like, you're more than welcome to pick this up in the back. And I think, other than that, we're open for questions, comments.
Thank you.